Hey, Platelet Warriors. I'm excited to be live in our Platelets, Plants, and Prayers group on Facebook with a live video. You can watch it live or you can catch the recording. That's the beauty of, posting it in our group. You can always catch it at your convenience. But you can also catch this on YouTube. You might even be watching it on a YouTube replay because what Facebook is starting to do, they're starting to delete videos after 30 days, which means it won't be saved forever. So I will be saving this and uploading it so you can watch it wherever. I wanted to talk a little bit about our liver and how important it is to be supporting our liver when we're battling things like low platelets due to ITP or other reasons. My name is Nina Cecina, and I'm a platelet warrior just like you. I've been in remission for 19 years. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not going to be giving medical advice. I'm just going to share with you what I've learned on my journey and some things that were helpful to me, so that if that's helpful to you, you can glean from that. When I was battling low platelets 21 years ago, I didn't have anybody to teach me all this stuff, and I kind of had to learn it on my own and learn as I go. And so if I can give back and share that with you, then that's my mission. I had a great question come into our group this week. Somebody posted a comment and shared that they had some blood work done and that their liver enzymes were not quite right. Okay, and so first of all, no medical advice. I can't speak to what that might indicate. Definitely, I'm always going to advise you to make sure you talk to your doctor if there's other tests that they might want to run or other things they might be concerned about. Make sure you're following up with your medical team. What I can share with you is that if you decide that supporting your liver in natural ways is something you want to do, I can share with you some tips on that and some things that I've tried that have really helped me. Again, natural ways to support your health, whether that's nutrition or supplements or otherwise, isn't necessarily your medical doctor's area of expertise. So even if you ask them about that, at best they're going to say, yeah, I'm not really sure about that. They might tell you you don't need to, support your liver. And they might even tell you not to do some of the things you might want to do because they don't know, how a supplement might work, or, they're not experts necessarily in nutrition or things like that. So things they can't advise you on, a lot of times they're going to tell you not to do just because they can't advise you on that. So just putting that out there. I'm familiar with all of those conversations. And then at some point, sometimes we just need to go, all right, I'm going to try this because, it feels right to me. It resonates with me. And I want to try some natural ways to support my health. Let's see. Sorry, I've got some notes here. I want to make sure that I kind of go in order. So, I have a tendency to kind of, go off on tangents. My first clue, okay, so rewind 21 years. I've got ITP. My platelets are, single digit. I knew nothing about natural health. I knew nothing about nutrition. I knew nothing about my liver and what it was or wasn't doing. I had lots of treatments, regular traditional ITP treatments, right? Chemo, steroids, all the infusion stuff. And then I had my spleen out. I'm glad to know that's not a frontline treatment anymore, but 21 years ago, it was what, we decided to try. It did not work at all. And what doctors will tell you is that if you have your spleen out and it doesn't help your platelets, it's because then the problem is your liver, not your spleen. That was the first tip off to me to go, is what's going on with my liver then? Before that, my liver was not even in my realm of awareness. Now, also disclaimer, that idea of liver versus spleen in the destruction of platelets, that's a very Western medicine way of thinking about ITP. I don't necessarily subscribe to that way of thought. Like Eastern medicine has totally different ideas about, splenectomy and why it would or wouldn't work and all of that. Totally other conversation. But I wanted to share that piece just because it was my first tip off to go, there's something going on with my liver. When I decided to try the Chinese herbs that really did end up helping my condition, there was an ITP pack. It's from Get Well Natural, and that's what ended up helping me quite a bit. I'm not affiliated with the company, and if you choose to try their herbs, I don't get any incentive or kickback or whatever. I really am just a happy customer to go, hey, I tried this and it worked. But after I tried the ITP pack, and my platelets were still really struggling. It didn't, kick my platelets up right away at all by any means. So they kept working with me to say, okay, let's try this. Now let's try this. Now try another herb. And I tried a few extra herbs, and the one that really seemed to start to kick things into gear, it was called Artemisia capillaris. And that's when the whole thing started to kind of come together and start working for me. Turns out Artemisia capillaris actually is a detoxer and a toner or whatever for the liver. So it's when I took the herb that actually started helping the liver, that's when my condition started to get better. Now, again, full disclosure, I have to say I wouldn't just I'm not trying to advertise to say, oh, just grab that one supplement and go ahead and do stuff. If you're interested in their approach, I'm going to suggest that you call them and talk to them and, let them help you put together, a comprehensive herbal supplement program. But again, that was my first tip off to go, wow, something's wrong with my liver, and now something's helping my liver. So you might even be thinking, do I need a detox? Do I need to detox my liver? What does that even mean? How would I know? The $1 million question is, how many toxins are stored in your liver, right? We have no way of knowing that, really. Again, holistic practitioners might be able to, do other tests or lock in on stuff. Again, speaking from personal experience, I had no idea what was stored in my liver. But when I started to learn more and I started to go, oh my gosh, anything with an artificial fragrance that has synthetic toxic chemicals in it, that gets stored in your liver. Now think about everything that has the word fragrance on the ingredient label. Okay? Every lotion, every soap, every perfume, every body spray, every shampoo, every conditioner, every candle, and I loved all of that. I was the girl that would go to the store at the mall and buy everything scented, including all the scented candles to match, right? And put all of that on my body and smell it and all of that. All that gets stuck in your liver. Think about heavy metals. How many years? Again, I'm not going to speak to you. I'm not going to call you out. I'm just going to say what I've been doing. I spent years cooking on Teflon coated pans. I spent years cooking on aluminum foil, line the pan with aluminum foil and cook on it. All of that stuff has metal in it and toxins in it and forever chemicals in it. And again, those get stored in your liver. I spent my whole life getting preventative shots in the arm, right? That word that starts with V that, nobody wants to talk about. And before I had my spleen out, they gave me a whole protocol of every shot that you could imagine. Again, that's a debate and a conversation for another time. But the fact is that when we put those shots in our arm, they do have preservatives in them, and those preservatives do contain mercury and aluminum. If you've had IV infusions for your condition, I just learned this a handful of years ago. I Googled what are the ingredients in, and I started looking at the stuff that I had infused in me. and I found aluminum as a preservative. I found, look for the word thimerosal. That's where the mercury hides. Okay, so I had chemotherapy. I had years of steroids and pharmaceuticals, and we're talking so much stuff was stored in my liver that I did not even know. Another huge tip off of whether or not you could benefit from a liver cleanse would be your hormones and how balanced your hormones are. If you feel like, wow, my hormones are kind of out of whack and I don't even know what direction they're in, like whatever, right? I spent years of having super, super painful monthly cramps, and I did not know that meant my hormones were out of balance. I struggled with infertility. I've never birthed my own children. I had no idea that meant my hormones were out of whack. Liver cleanse can be really helpful. Since then, since I've done lots of liver cleansing, things have really come into better balance. Again, tons of details I can share. I'm trying to keep it a little bit short. Even so much that, there are sometimes, I've heard stories and other testimonies of people who were getting ready to start a regimen of herbal supplements to get their hormones in balance. There's lots of things that will help your hormones get in balance. But when they started with a liver cleanse, like that was recommended to them, like start with a liver cleanse. Once they did that, they didn't even need the supplements and recommendations to support their hormones. The liver cleanse cleared everything and put everything in right balance. I've definitely experienced that too from a certain type of liver cleanse that I'm gonna mention later. If you're kind of in the position that I was in, going like, all right, like I just checked all of those things off the list, all those, things that are probably hanging out in my liver, I am going to suggest that whatever you decide to do, that you start out very gently. Again, I'm speaking from personal experience and personal mistake. The first few times I tried to do some liver cleansing, some detox protocols, again, there's so many different things you can try, but I would go all in kind of like gangbusters and do all the things. And then I would feel really terrible. And it's like detox symptoms can happen. There's indicators that your body is detoxing. Sometimes that feels like fatigue or headache, kind of like flu symptoms. I've had skin reactions to things, not because I put stuff on my skin, but because toxins were leaching out of my skin. When your liver releases toxins, you want for them to flush out, like when you go to the bathroom. If you're flushing toxins too quick, you can actually get that releasing out of your skin. And I've had skin reactions from stuff, almost like a chemical burn. Again, like I'm not trying to scare you, but it was like that light bulb moment for me to go, oh my gosh, I am having such extreme symptoms from detoxing. It was an indicator of how much junk was stored in my liver that my body really needed help very gently releasing that. Like I said, I started out not gently enough. And then sometimes, there's ways to counterbalance that, drink extra water. You can take binding supplements that just help bind those toxins and get them out. There's all kinds of things you can do. It's not scary. It's just that tip off to go, if you feel unwell when you do a cleanse or a detox, it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It doesn't mean something's going wrong. It actually means something is going right. And you need to stick with it and maybe just like ease back a little bit and let your body adjust. So what could we do, right? Now you might be going, all right, yes, I want to do something, but I don't know what to do. What then should we do? And I feel like maybe I should have a document, like a little list or something. In my ITP guide that I have published, I do have some tips in there. just, taking care of your liver as being, a holistic way of working with your health. But some really simple things you can do. The first thing, even before, we're not even going to call this doing something, but the first thing that I want you to pay attention to is stop letting the toxins in, right? If we've got some toxins in there and we know we want to start cleansing, the first thing I want you to pay attention to is don't keep letting toxins come in, because getting them out is going to be a losing battle, right? Think about like if you've got to clean a really messy room, and maybe your bad habit, kind of like mine, right? Maybe your bad habit is like stacking things on the floor, right? Piles of laundry or whatever, bags of trash, right? Imagine a really messy room. If your goal is to clean the messy room, you've got to stop messing it up in the first place, right? Stop putting more junk in the room. Stop. Then, only then, is the cleaning of the room going to be fruitful. Because if you just keep junking up the room, you're going to end up with a balance, right? I'm cleaning, I'm junking, I'm cleaning. Same with your liver. So step one, stop the toxins. That means take a look at your cleaning products, your personal care products, whatever F-word fragrance you might be using in your home. There are natural alternatives to stuff like that, and I've got a free guide for you. So in another post, or if you even just drop a comment, I'm going to offer that. If you want some clean swap outs for cleaning stuff, then that's the first step. Stop putting the gunky stuff in your liver first, then we'll start cleansing. A really easy thing to do to just help support your liver is drinking water with lemon. Lemon is very detoxing for your liver. Having a glass of water with lemon in the morning can just be a really simple, like baby step way to do something kind to your liver. Somebody told me once that there's a term for that, and it's called slapping your liver. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if that's a term, but it stuck with me because I thought it was funny. Have a glass of lemon water. I like to use a lot of essential oils, for natural health and wellness stuff. If you have essential oils that are food grade, watch out for that. You want to make sure it's something that you can safely ingest. Again, I can make some more suggestions, but sometimes I will just have a drop or two of lemon essential oil in some water, because that will really also help with detox. Lemon essential oil is different than lemon juice. So it's different than squeezing a lemon and getting lemon juice, which is good. The essential oil comes from the rind of the lemon. So, just different things to try. Intermittent fasting. If you've heard of that term, intermittent fasting can also be helpful for the liver. I just read some research article on that. Intermittent fasting doesn't have to be scary. It just means you consume all of your food in a certain, so many hours during the day. And when you're done eating for the day, you stop and you don't sit on the sofa with all the munchies. Again, ask me how I know. I'm a munchy person in the evening, but we stop that and we let our body rest the digestive process. When we stop forcing our body to work on digestion, it can work on healing and cleansing. And intermittent fast can be however many hours you choose, right? It could be a 12-hour fast where you say, I'm going to go from 8 p.m. at night to 8 in the morning, and that's my intermittent fast. The longer you choose to intermittent fast, the more health benefit and the more healing benefit you can derive from that. Some people choose, there's a protocol I'm going to talk about in a minute that I like to do, where the intermittent fast is a 16-hour fast and our eating window during the day is 8 hours. And so, I don't live my life by that. I don't do it all the time, but I do it as part of, a healing protocol. So intermittent fasting can be helpful. Again, if you're just thinking, I'm overwhelmed, or I just want to do something small, I can only do, a baby step right now. that could be really helpful. Intermittent fasting is part of a healing protocol that I really like called the 11-day jumpstart. It's something that I do every month. Most month it's like this little 11-day run where the focus is reducing inflammation. And so we look at anti-inflammatory nutrition, again, which is hugely helpful for your liver. So even apart from this jumpstart protocol, if you just wanted to focus on reducing inflammation in your food, that's it's easy. But when we shift our focus on our nutrition, cut the foods that cause inflammation. What foods cause inflammation? Gluten, dairy, refined sugar, corn, and sometimes other grains for some people. All those seed oils cause inflammation. Processed food. All right. If you can cut those out, your liver will thank you. But again, back to the jumpstart I was mentioning. What the jumpstart does is for 11 days, we focus on anti-inflammatory food and intermittent fast, some exercise, drinking water, which flushes, it's going to help flush your liver and flush inflammation. And there's a supplement that we do for the jumpstart, which is made of wolfberries, aka goji berries, which are really healing for the liver. And so putting those pieces together for the 11-day jumpstart is a really nice, gentle detox protocol because it flushes inflammation. It's really supportive for your liver. And it's not like the big guns like I talked about where, I would go like gangbusters and end up with detox, feeling not well. The 11-day jumpstart is really, really gentle and it really supports the liver. So it could be, something that might be helpful for you. Wolfberries, like I mentioned in the jumpstart, the supplement that we use for that is made of wolfberries. Even apart from that, apart from doing it like a protocol or a cleanse, just consuming wolfberries or goji berries are very helpful for your liver. There also is, as part of the jumpstart, there's an add-on component for people who want to do more of a heavier cleansing option for the liver. There is an optional kind of like an add-on to the protocol liver cleanse where there's more supplements and things that we do. I've done that too. And actually it's really interesting. When I did that liver cleanse, we could just call it the Jumpstart Extra Liver Cleanse or whatever. I didn't realize the things I was struggling with that ended up being the testimony of the liver cleanse really working for me. All of a sudden, when I did that liver cleanse, I was losing less hair when I took a shower. I didn't realize how much my hair was falling out. And, I have long hair, but I would get like a hair glob in the shower. And when I did that liver cleanse, all of a sudden, my hair loss was down to like 3 strands of hair when I would wash my hair in the shower. I also stopped getting up in the night to go to the bathroom. That's another whole thing in Eastern medicine, which hour of the day your organs are active or cleansing. And your liver is active and cleansing between 2 and 3 a.m. And if you're getting up to use the restroom consistently at the same time in the middle of the night, and it's around 2 or 3 a.m., it could be indicating that your liver needs a little love. And that was happening to me. So I did the liver cleanse with the jumpstart, and lo and behold, I stopped waking up in the middle of the night to use the restroom. So again, it was a tip off to go. I knew my liver needed some help, and I definitely noticed a difference. The last cleanse I'm going to talk about, and again, there's infinite ways, different cleanses, different supplements. I'm just telling you about what I personally have experience with. There's a cleanse called the Master Cleanse. There's books written about it. It's a very specific protocol. If you wanted to know more, I could get you, the name of the book, the author. There's a Facebook group where people do it together. It is a total tissue cleanse. It will cleanse and detox every cell in your body. no matter what you're dealing with. And so it's an excellent liver cleanse. You go for the short term is 10 days. Some people do make it longer, but for 10 days, you don't consume any solid food. It's all kind of like a juice cleanse, and you make the juice concoction with lemon juice, maple syrup, and cayenne pepper and water. And you drink this lemon drink. And again, the book explains exactly how it works, why it works, you do get enough nutrients to sustain you for, a certain amount of days. I've done it twice. Let's face it, it's not easy to just, not eat for 10 days and, drink this drink. I did get all my nutrients. I wasn't hungry. Some people do lose weight. My body didn't really need to do that. So I really didn't, but okay, here's kind of like that little, asterisk of, could this be right for you? It's not something I talk about often, because when you do a master cleanse, you're not supposed to take any medication while you're cleansing, which means if you're on a treatment, if you're taking medication, whether that's steroids or something, you can't just stop taking it. Some of us, like when I was struggling with my platelets, going medication free would not have been an option for me. So for the master cleanse, you can't take any medications, and it's not recommended for people who are on immunosuppressives. And again, whether that's IV treatments or injections or steroids or whatever, if you're suppressing your immune system as a treatment, I wouldn't recommend that you try to do the master cleanse. I wouldn't be able to, advise you on that or support you on that. And so I'm putting it out there as, yes, this is a really powerful liver cleanse, because we're talking about liver cleansing, but yeah, if you're on medications or whatever, might not be right for you. I did have, when I did the master cleanse, I had a total hormone reset, which was really powerful for me. I had been struggling with hormone balance stuff. When I did the master cleanse, it made a huge difference in just like monthly cycle, stuff. Again, short story version. But if I have mentioned anything that sparked your curiosity to go, I need to know more about that, right? Whether that's, a jump start, or whether that's, a specific liver cleanse tool that I've mentioned, or if you really just want to kind of bounce some ideas around or put our heads together, if you just want to chat sometime and say, hey, this is where I'm at, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm feeling, let's find something that would be right for you. I'm totally happy to do that. Like, we could jump on Zoom, we could chat for a few minutes. Anything related to your health is not a one size fits all. So you're not going to see me developing a program to say, okay, do this, one size fits all, do this program. It's going to do everything you want to do. I'm really not that way, because everything is individual. Your body reacts to stuff differently. You're on different medications that somebody might be on. Your health goals, even though your goal might be, yes, I want my platelets, to get up, even your health goals of things you might want to focus on, whether that's reducing inflammation or reducing stress, or how you get to that point of raising your platelets. That's kind of the $1 million question. That's not one size fits all. If you want everything all in one place, right? When I talk about stuff like reducing inflammation and reducing stress and, getting toxins out of your house, if you want all of that all in one place, I have a guide for of just like, here's everything that was helpful to me. Everything I know about natural treatments, traditional treatments, everything that I did that was helpful. That's my ITP guide. That I do have available on my Wellness Warriors website, and it's on Amazon. So whatever works for you. But again, I hope everything we talked about today was helpful. And if you have any questions, or if anything just sparked your curiosity to go, that was kind of the short story, I really want to know more about that, go ahead and drop a comment or reach out, message me, and we'll find out a time to connect. But wishing you health and peace and platelets, and have a wonderful rest of your day.